Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Let We Hear from Doc. I'm your host, Amanda Japal, and with me is Dr. the Right Honorable Kid Claudius Mitchell. So, Dr. Mitchell, how was your weekend? How was the Easter holiday? It's been a while.
Well, it's fun. They remember sitting River Sally, Saraka at the same week on Sana. Then you had activities, the church in my community and the Easter function and the harvest and different activities that occur over there, the island. And I spent the early part of the week I was in New York and with friends and playing dominoes and having relaxation, good fun. So it was a happy week for me.
Well, let's dive right into it. Grenada's strong showing at the CARIFTA speaks volumes about the talent that we have. How would you assess the impact of NMP's historical investments in youth sports and developments and achievements like these?
Well, I think it's important to recognize and understand that the investment that we made in development of the both the cricket stadium and the athletic and football stadium were not about a project to make NNP look good or to boast about. NNP always had a clear understanding of the future of our country and therefore the future of our young people is that's what it was all about. And what a better way to invest. You investing in education. You're investing in other aspects of economic activity. But if you don't invest in the skills of your young people, whether it's in sports, you're failing them. You must be when you're investing in young people, you must go to the holistic aspect of their development, education, the health, and of course, the physical capacity and so on. So we had no doubt that that investment was going to pay off. And I remember very well when the first cricket stadium was built and then the second one, the attack came from this National Democratic Congress. How we wasting the money and we should take the money and build a hotel. That's what they said we should do, and so on. Because they did not understand. Because the NDC has never showed that it had a vision for this country's development. It's all about themselves and their image, what they think, but not the future of the country. And therefore, we were very happy to have invested in this. And I was so proud to see the first time we had the first athletic meeting at the modern facility with a track, a modern track that they use for international events to allow the talent of our country to run on that sophisticated facility that is acceptable internationally. And I was so proud to watch the young people, and I could see how proud they were in participating in those events. So I have no doubt, had we not done this, we would not have had a Karane James emerging and all the other, the Regis girls and all the other athletes that have done well over the years and made their mark in the country and so on. We would not have had that. And today what we have, the Thomas, what's the name, Kishan? Yeah, Kishan?
Kishan?
The young man that has now done
Kashi.
Cash,
Yeah,
right,
yes, yes, yeah.
right. No, look at that talent. Clearly, the facility has a lot to do with this. The skills of the young men have been promoted in a very serious way, and we are so proud of them. And that's why it pains me to understand how our prime minister could find himself in St. Lucia, greeting the St. Lucian athletes that has been successful in the CARIFTA games. They did well, but they're behind Grenada. Grenada was ahead of St. Lucia. Although I'm proud as a Caribbean man to see other countries in the region. But he was there meeting with the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the St. Lucia athletes returning from CARIFTA. And where he was not in Grenada, or did not meet. I don't know whether he was in Grenada or not, because no one seemed to know when the Prime Minister is in Grenada or out of Grenada, because most of them appears to be out. So I can't say he was not in Grenada, but he certainly was not at the airport to greet athletes from CARIFTA who represented Grenada, who came fourth among the islands in the Caribbean. It was Jamaica, Trinidad, Tobago, right? And Bahamas, and Grenada fourth. I think St. Lucia was fifth or sixth at something like this. So it's strange, but so I am to repeat or to make a final comment on this. I am proud of the fact of our students. I'm so happy to see that we are developing the talents, and I expect to see more and more of that. I was able to watch the last intercall games that took place here, and it's a pleasure watching the young people from all the various schools participating and so on, and enjoying the facility as because it was the investment was about them. So we are it's paying off already. The country's name is on the international circle through Kirani James and others, and that were there before, and it's now going to be promoted by the new ones coming who have now contributed so enormously at the last character games going forward. So I'm very proud of this, and I'm very proud that the NNP was the one who initiated the development of those facilities.
You mentioned proud so many times during your statements. What would you like to say directly to our young CARIFTA athletes who has actually made our nation proud? What advice would you give them?
Stay focused, because it's easy as a young person. I was young too, and I was, um, as you know, a popular cricketer and so on. And it's easy to be sidetracked by the niceties of life. And there are people who come around you sometimes and who like to use what they perceive as your your success, and may not always give you the right advice. Stay focused, keep the friends that would continue to help you to help you to be
Develop.
develop even further, and always remember that success only comes with sacrifice and hard work, and to continue to do this. And I would say also stay close to your parents and those who love you.
And I don't even think that's good advice. I never think we congratulated any of the schools who, as you mentioned intercall, any of the schools who who won intercall 2025. So I just want to say a special congratulations to the St. David's Catholic Secondary School, to the GBSS. Oh my, these schools are top schools. They always make us proud.
And SAS.
And SAS,
Yes.
I was about to say
SAS.
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 SAS gives healthy competition both in the boys and girls
Yes.
category. I'm looking forward to see them um dominating sometime in the
SAS
near
has
future.
always, or historically, I've witnessed so many intercall games
Mhm.
where the competition was hot, between SAS and GBSS, or between GBSS and McDonald College, between McDonald College and SAS, between SAS and St. David's Secondary School, and whether it's girls or boys. I've seen those exciting periods. I remember one intercall in particular. I can't remember the year. They both McDonald College and SAS were neck and neck in the points. One was slightly ahead, and the last race was going to determine. Man, this was an exciting period for all. And the stadium erupted. I can't even remember which one of them won, because as far as I'm concerned, the winner, the loser was also a winner. And I remember how everyone was so happy that they came out of that watching a session like that. There were a lot of talented young people participating in that sport. I can't remember the year. It was certainly after 2000, but I remember the attack. Yeah.
Speaking of all this excitement, right? Um, there's a growing excitement about the possibility of having character games being hosted here. How important would that opportunity be for national pride, and should the country prepare if given the chance?
Well, it'd be always nice to have the games here. We've had it already before, as you know, and it brought a lot of international exposure. But clearly, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
The question is whether you have the resources at this time. You know, things are tough right now in the country financially. Things are tough in the region and in the world. I'm facing the new tariff coming from Brother Donald.
United States.
Brother Donald's tariff. That hasn't hit us yet. So I would not be one who say that we should definitely find the money to host it. I think it'd be good, especially if you could get sponsors. I suppose if you could seek the private sector, not necessarily private sector here. We have a lot of CBI persons who are millionaires. Maybe we could ask a few of them to sponsor the games and give them some promotion. That could be a way out. So I'm not just suggesting the government must cut the budget for the Ministry of Works, cut the budget for the Ministry of Health, and provide less health care for the people and invest in CARIFTA games. I'm not suggesting this, but it would be nice if it is possible. Then I say let's get it done within the context of our ability to fund. Yes.
Moving away from sports and everything, the new National Party has recently announced 4 new caretakers that represent, key constituencies. In your view, what sets the NMP strategy for leadership renewal apart from what we currently see from the NDC?
Well, first of all, one thing we all must understand, and everyone and every political party must understand this. We are living in a parliamentary system of democracy, which says that it's a 5-year period. In other words, the day the election is held and done, you have to prepare for the next one, because the Prime Minister has the power to call election at any time within the 5 years. In fact, there was a case in St. Lucia years ago. John Compton went to the polls and it came out with a 1-seat majority. He went to Parliament and had one Parliament session, and then he dissolved Parliament 3 weeks later and had the whole country in shock. So in other words, he did not utilize the 5 years or even 6 months of that particular period. The point is that you must always be ready.
Yeah.
So it seems like the present government is there almost 3 years. So the election is more than possible. So you have to prepare yourself, and therefore I was one of those who felt strongly that the party must start moving to identify leadership. Now, the caretaker is what it says it is. It doesn't mean that the persons are necessarily a candidate.
Candidates, yeah.
They have a good a good opportunity, I should say, to become the candidate. But that, of course, has to be done in the context of the people's reception of the persons that you name as caretakers. So I think it's important for members of our party to understand, because sometimes you have some person that is chosen as a caretaker and you might find opposition. And I had to say to a couple of cases, I said, well, if the person is not capable of becoming the candidate, that person will show up themselves. He or she will. Yeah. So we have to give them the support and give them all the necessary encouragement to succeed. And if they can't make it, then the party has a responsibility to make changes. But I'm very impressed with the persons that have been chosen, the young people that are putting themselves forward. And I'm so proud of this, and I think it's a pleasure for those of us who have been involved in the politics. When I just came in, I was known as the young star. So today when they say I'm the old man, I said, look at life. One day I tell the guys on the other side, if you call me old man, some years from now, you will be called the old man. Prepare yourself accordingly. So I say to them, look, it's a good thing to see the party moving aggressively and choosing people. And not just people who want to be in government, to want a job, and to get material things, to travel, as some people in government are doing, just enjoying themselves while the people are out there under serious stress. The caliber of the persons I see are people with an aptitude for service, for helping people, for building building institutions and so on. That's what I see in the capacity of the individuals that I've seen. So I'm extremely proud, and I know the party on a right track, and I think Sister Pierre, who's leader of the party, is certainly by that decision is showing a clear understanding of what is necessary to capture government the next time around. Because when you compare the team that is now evolving within the NMP, there is no comparison, as what people would say. Is like chalk and cheese, so to speak. So I think the nation, not only that the government is making itself unpopular and more unpopular every day, but I think in based on when you compare the teams that are available, and when you see the leadership of the teams that are available, you have no doubt that the NMP clips the National Democratic Congress by a distant, by miles. So I have no doubt. I'm extremely proud, and I can look forward to the naming of more and more caretakers in constituencies where there are not identified personnel yet. And there are few areas like this. We have 4 constituencies that the party now have elected representative in parliament, and I don't think they're necessarily the areas of major concern right now. I think it's the other ones that we need to put in place in the caretakers so that they get into the field and start to do the work and make themselves available, listen to people, talk to people, identify with people. And I think there's no doubt in my mind. The answer to politics in these small parts, even in the United States, as big as they are, it's hand-to-hand combat. It's just that the hand-to-hand is in a different context because you can't be visiting homes like you do here. But it's the same concept. People want to reach you, they want to know you, and when they reach you and they see you, they get a feel as to whether you're genuine and whether you're playing games or you just come looking for votes. I remember when a young boy growing up in the old days, some used to hear the people say, "Oh, you only come in because the election is near," and they say that the only time they see certain politicians when the election is near. So I made sure when I got elected first that no one ever said that to me. So I used to be there all the time in the communities and visiting homes and identifying. So I remember the first time I was going back as a candidate in the election after the 84, that's 1990. And people tell me, "Doc, why are you wasting your time for? Go somewhere else." You know why? Because they see me as somebody while I was in government, after they voted for me, that I did not disappear and wait for election time. Because when they see you coming, especially those who coming and say they want to offer people money, you know, and material, want to build a road overnight. I want to what bathroom up and bathroom. Some of the bathroom, I'm not sure how they constructed it, who the engineer is, and he's the engineer for bathroom. So God help us. So people, yes, it's our money, right? It's not yours because you had nothing before you get into government. You had nothing. Now you could give thousands of dollars to people, hopefully to buy them for election purposes. I say to people, it's your money. If they offer you, take it. But don't put, you want 3 and 4 more years of hardship for the last year again to get some money or get some bathroom or something or makeshift house. I see some houses being built. I don't know who is building them. It, I don't know what kind of foundation they have, but especially it says Andy again is the one building them, and he's the contractor, he's the architect or engineer. So God help us. Go on, Andy, keep going, boy.
So, Doc, you we're speaking about caretakers as in the process of giving advice and stuff because you have always emphasized the need for strategic succession planning. So, what personal advice would you give to the new caretakers as they step into frontline politics? I know you mentioned house to house, but what else would you?
Well, the house to house is key, but I say you must have good leadership team around you, because I always maintain a leader is as good as the team that he or she surrounds himself with. So a leader in a constituency, you have to nurture and have to build a cadre of key supporters around you in different villages. And while you're serving you will see the emergence of individuals with the capacity,
That's
the ability, and the commitment to provide service in the community and leadership going forward. And I think that is something that you'd all have to do, because you don't know how long you are going to be there. I never thought I would be a representative for 40 years. But at the same time, there should always be someone there willing to take on the responsibility if and when you are not able to continue serving. So that would be a certainty. And I would always say, look, make sure you keep close to the young people in the community, because they're more fickle than the ordinary voters who might know you much more than they will. I would also say make sure that you look out for the senior citizens who need government help, particularly those who do not have the family structure to be able to provide the necessary material support, and see that they have, because every single person deserves government help who is not able to help themselves, or their family able to help them. So these are some of the messages and advice I would certainly want to give to you. And always stay connected. Always stay connected. I always say that they make this statement that, listen, there's a story that says, when you're going up the ladder, never shun those you see coming down. Because one day, you will be coming down. It might not be the same set going up, but somebody else will be going up, and you will be coming down. I don't know this. I use this as a motto, Amanda, during my period of service in Northwest St. George's. I always say to myself, and I always want people to say, this man has never changed. No matter what position he or she attains, people have to be able to say that about you. That the job and the title and the position that you have didn't affect your connection and communication with people. I value this a lot, and that would be one advice I give to budding politicians who are serious about service in the communities going forward.
Doc, you mentioned somewhere higher up when we were speaking about CARIFTA, you mentioned CBI. So there is this growing concern that the current administration is overly dependent on these passport sales without a clear, sustainable development plan. How risky is it for
Well,
Grenada?
this clearly it cannot be sustainable. Selling the birthright of your country as a means to govern, to gain revenue, permanent. I mean, as a major source. To me, we initiated the CBI program, and I'm saying it's necessary. Almost every country have a CBI type program. Whether it's the United States, whether it's Canada, it's just different value,
Yeah.
but attracting people with resources, and that can be. But I maintain, and that was the philosophy of the New National Party. That's not what you're seeing today. That's why we did not sell an enormous amount of passports in a short period. But you have to be careful. These are people who become citizens of the country. So you have to be careful what you do. But more than that, we said, look, the resources that we earn from the CBI program should be invested in paying down the debts, and also for capital project that help to build a productive sector of the country and to create jobs in a general way. What is happening now? The CBI, the passport sales are being used to fund the recurrent side of the budget, to hire people to bloat the public service. And to me, it's fundamentally flawed, because there's no serious program of development in the country at this stage. There is no serious program that the CBI says funding that is of a serious developmental nature, and so on. So I think it's just a poor methodology of financing government, and broad aspects of government as a whole. And it tells you the lack of vision of the present leadership of the National Democratic Congress. Like not having, where are the development plans? Where are the programs initiated by the government that will help to build the productive sector of the economy, so that we can see more foreign exchange and more developmental activities taking place, which brings in resources and create jobs? None of that is there. So it is a major problem, and they can't defend it. And when people like me make those statements, they're out, the wolves ready to jump, but they can't jump. Keep mature, of course, them being jumped on. So I don't know, when I hear some people criticizing me, I laugh. I say, "But come, try your best," because I had for 40 something years of this, and they didn't move me, and it was successful despite all the attacks. And you notice some um, media houses, they can't stop talking. I'm no longer leader party. I'm no longer opposition leader, but anything still I'm there on the front page. And even my personal business is on the front page. I don't have a right to put my private life. Everybody has a right to their private life, except keep Mitchell. Keep coming on, man. Keep coming. Keep coming.
Given recent discussions surrounding the electoral office,
Yes.
do you believe that the institution currently meets a standard of independence and transparency?
Yeah, I think that's a serious concern, and I think it's something our party leadership has to be very concerned about, because clearly, I first of all, the past supervisor was got rid of, in strange ways. We up to now we don't know the real reason, right? We confronted the governor general. What she said was pathetic, and to me it was insultive to our own intelligence when she spoke to us and so on. And I think it's unfortunate, because the governor general, is technically the person in charge of the electoral, not the government, not the prime minister, and so on. And therefore, she has a moral responsibility to protect the integrity of the electoral office. So by changing a supervisor and giving this flimsy excuse why the former one was dismissed, was unfortunate. And I think it's something that we have to be concerned, because I understand there are attempts or deliberate padding of the list through CBI persons whom the law guaranteeing giving the right for CBI citizenship program says that they have no right to vote. That's the law. No one has challenged that in court so far. So it's still the law of the land. So anyone who's a registered CBI person using the CBI as a basis for registration is doing something that's not correct. No, if you are Commonwealth citizen and you have a CBI program, citizenship, and you're here for at least a year, then you have the right to vote. Not on the basis of the CBI passport, but it's on the basis of the law, which says, the Constitution, which says any Commonwealth citizen who is in the country for more than a year, like a Grenadian person who is here for more than a year, is of the right to vote also going forward. So I'm concerned, and I think that's an area that's why we're urging the members of the party, or caretakers, and our leadership in the various scrutinize the voters list. You must identify everyone, and anyone who's identified as not being meeting the criteria that the law specify for registering to vote must be now approached. The approach must be made to the electoral office to remove them from the list. And at least that evidence must be there. So if they show up in a polling station to vote, then you object immediately. And that makes it difficult. And the law is clear about that. So that is where I think we need to spend a lot more time, because with all the work you're doing, with all the concern and the hostility of the people towards this government is still thinking by some illegal means to stay in office, because their concern is not service to the people. Their concern is being in power, to enjoy themselves, to travel, and to be out and enjoy themselves at the expense of the country.
We're about to wrap up, Doc.
Yes.
But there's a lot of things that has been happening, not just the CBI, CARIFTA, but there is a movement out there right now. So with the recent launch of the movement, it has sparked a few conversations. What is your perspective on its emergence?
Well, movement is what it is. Movement. Movement. So, I mean, it's a waste. I think it's an ego being satisfied, because I did not get what I want. Clearly, it's like it's said that when the fox couldn't get the grapes, he said the grapes is sour. The NMP was the greatest thing on earth when it gave me a chance to be involved, and I had the perception that I could emerge as leader, and I didn't get it. And keep my child was the best thing in God's earth. I'm now the worst person on God's earth right now. But that is the mindset of these individuals, and getting people to go out and say all kind of salacious, nasty things against me. And they believe they're smart, that they're hiding behind these criminals. They're hiding behind them. But people know who is doing what in the country, and they know the characters of those individuals. I have no, right now, I am convinced that the right thing the NMP did, because there's no way I would have been able to support the persons that I saw emerging as possibility, knowing the character traits that I saw. I would not want that for my country. And if NMP was brave enough to put that individual to lead, I would not have campaigned for the New National Party. I've made it very clear because I saw enough evidence of character deficiencies, serious deficiencies, why I could not support the individual. So I wish them the best. Let the movement keep moving on. The movement is what it is, movement.
So I'll move on.
It's a dance. It's a dance game, right? It's a dance. You could do reggae. You could do soul. It's a movement. Keep moving, movement. Keep moving. Keep moving. I gonna make a dance, on that movement. I'm gonna try a dance on that.
The movement.
Yes, the movement. That's why them calypso they come up to me about make a dance. We gonna make a dance on the movement.
So let's move on.
Yes.
Doc, we've seen the recent passing of Pope Francis. And he's a leader who had championed humility and service to the poor and vulnerable. So how do you personally reflect on the impact of his leadership, both spiritually and
Well, it's clear the Pope Francis has demonstrated the human touch that I think we all should be able to emulate. Clearly, he had a passion for the poor and vulnerable, because a lot of times, when we reach in positions of responsibility and authority, we forget where we come from. We forget that we have to look out for the ones that are most vulnerable to be able to help them. That's what leadership should tell us about, and so on. So he has certainly demonstrated, he has given the Catholic Church a very positive image, and in fact the way he went on his pastoral duties is clear. I remember taking my mother to, because your mother is a staunch Catholic, you can't talk anything negative about the Catholic Church in front of her and so on. Right. So I took her to see the Pope. Can't remember the year, it was after 2000. And when we met him, I had a half an hour, more than half an hour, but an hour meeting. We discussed all the issues. And he's concerned then, one of the main issues he raised with me. How did I feel about the whole question or approachment, Obama's approachment with Cuba? And I said that I thought it was an excellent move and so on. And he clearly wanted to see America get rid of this embargo on Cuba. It was clear that he felt that Cuba should be given an opportunity to be, like every other country in the world, an opportunity to be in all aspects of development internationally and so on. I remember that well, that he had fond memories of Fidel. Well, Fidel was not a Catholic, and I don't think he was a Catholic in the early days, but I don't think lately he was. But he definitely was. But one of the significant things that came out of that meeting that I remember well, that my mom was with me at the latter part of the session. We brought her in, and of course she was so happy to meet the Pope, and so on. And she said to him, before she left, she wanted him to pray for her. He gave us some chaplain and so on. And she said him to pray for her. And he said, Mrs. Mitchell, you older than me, you better pray for me too. I never forget that. she always remember that comment of Pope Francis. So I think he's done his piece. I hope the Catholic Church can move forward to have a leader in the same kind of capacity and and ideas about leadership and governance going forward, and to play a role of bring. Cause I knew that he was very concerned about the wars that now existed, and you see people dying innocently around the world, no matter which side of the fence you come. I think he was clearly wanting to see peace and order in the world. So he has lived a good life, and he has made the world a better place, in my view.
Well, he often emphasized that leadership is ultimately about service. So at this time, I just want to say thank you for your service, and also your contribution to the entire world. As a matter of fact, my heart goes out to his family and to the Catholic Church as well. Do accept my sympathy, and we thank you for your service, because the Catholic Church plays a really important part within our community. They donate a lot of things to the less fortunate. So we side with you, and we understand. Um, that's all the time we have for today, Dr. Mitchell. That's all the time we have today, folks. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for commenting, for liking, for subscribing, and stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. You'll see a man the next week again, a beautiful green again.
Show them